How's it going, guys? We have finished up the month of October, and in this video, I want to take a look at the top 10 highest rated games, PS5 games that is, in the month of October. Now, this is based on the Metacritic scores. I know not everybody loves Metacritic and the scores over there, but I think it's a nice way to look at what the critics are saying. I'll give my 2 cents as well as far as the games that I've played. I haven't played everything, of course. There's a ton of stuff that came out in October, but I have to say, top-rated games-wise, you don't have a lot of games in that upper echelon tier in terms of Metacritic score. Nothing above an 85. And as we are looking at the top 10, we're gonna look at games that actually dipped below 70, so more on that later. We'll start off with the top-rated game, and that was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So this was a bit of a surprise to me. I initially was going into the release of the game thinking, hey, there's not a lot of buzz surrounding the game. The gameplay I had seen wasn't anything to write home about, in my personal opinion, but it was received very well by critics and fans alike, an 81 on Metacritic, and the user score is actually even more positive with an 8.7. I have been playing the game, I haven't completed it yet, and while I don't think it starts off amazing, I think it builds up into quite a good game, and while I wouldn't also say it's worth $60, this is a game that I very much see going cheaper not that long after its release. I mean, it came out October 26th, I could easily see it being down to $35, $40 by the end of November, so I could understand if this game underperforms like week 1. I could see those sales numbers pick up by the time the holiday season wraps up, because I do think this is a game quite a few people skipped. Hopefully, a lot of people do check it out once it is discounted. Again, at $35 to $40, I do think it's going to be a good pickup. It has some good comedy and good writing as well. And again, I think the 81 on Metacritic is well deserved. Next up, we have Riders Republic, which is another game that I think over-exceeded expectations. A 79 on Metacritic, only based on 10 critic reviews, so that should be taken into account, and an 8.6 as a user score with 36 ratings. This dropped October 28th, so it's still relatively recent. I played a bit of the beta, and I was not completely enamored by it. I shouldn't say beta, excuse me, the free trial, and I wasn't completely blown away by it, but this is definitely one that I want to check out once it gets a little bit cheaper. Now, it is a Ubisoft game, and if you've been following our channel, Ubisoft games tend to go on sale very quickly after release. I mean, yes, games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, and Immortals Fenyx Rising came out last year, but those games, all 3 of those went on sale very quickly after release, and I talked about it yesterday, but Best Buy selling those games. Watch Dogs Legion for $15, Immortals Fenyx Rising for $15, and AC Valhalla is down to $20. All Ubisoft games, and that's why I am not overly eager on dropping, full retail price $60 on a Ubisoft game, just because, if past this prologue, chances are these are gonna go on sale very, very quickly. But nice to see Riders Republic get a 79 on Metacritic and an 8.6 user score, but I do see it being down to $40 by the end of the year. Next up, Alan Wake Remastered, 79 on Metacritic and 8.2 user score. I really enjoyed Alan Wake, while I think it's a little bit dated at this point, given that it came out 11 and a half years ago, I want to say. I believe I'm right with that timetable. It is still a very good game. The storytelling in this game was incredibly strong, and while the gameplay does get a bit repetitive, I still think Alan Wake was an excellent game, and it's nice to see that the remastered version was well received, and I think they got the pricing right, $30 for the base game as well as the 2 expansions. No, you don't get American Nightmare, but I think overall it is a decent value. And I think a 79 on Metacritic is well deserved. An 8.2 as far as the user score goes as well. And if you enjoyed Alan Wake, make sure you check out Control Ultimate Edition as well. That's another game made by the development studio in Remedy, and they did quite a good job with Alan Wake. They also did quite a good job with Control, and hopefully this is the pathway that leads to Alan Wake 2, because there has been rumblings that that is in development, and seemingly this is doing pretty well from a sales standpoint. As far as, remastered commercial numbers are gonna go, it seems like Alan Wake is doing pretty well. Next up, we have Back 4 Blood, which there is a big discrepancy between this game's Metascore and its user score. A 77 on Metacritic and a user score of 5.6. Now, I played this on PC through Xbox Game Pass, and it was a game that I just was not going to drop $60 on. I just did not feel the value was there, especially when I looked over and, I have Xbox Game Pass on PC, so I'm just like, I'll play it through that, and I found it to be a pretty enjoyable game. Now, maybe my perception of this game would be different if I did drop $60 on it. That's always something you have to ascertain when you do play games through Xbox Game Pass, but as a co-op experience, I thought it was quite a bit of fun. And if you, obviously, if you enjoyed games like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood is going to be right up your alley. If you enjoyed games like, you know, Killing Floor or other co-op titles, Back 4 Blood is a game that I think a lot of people can easily get into. However, when you do think about it being $60, that's where I think maybe some of the criticism can come up. It's going to determine long-term what the longevity of this game is how Turtle Rock as a studio does keep it updated, does keep it fresh, but I felt like it was relatively engaging for the limited time that I did play it. Unfortunate that it seems like a lot of the players didn't think so, but yeah, 5.6, not a great score, but a 77 on Metacritic is fairly good. Next up, we have Far Cry 6, another big discrepancy here, 75 on Metacritic and a 4.7 as far as the user score goes. Now, there's 657 ratings as far as the user score goes, so take that with a grain of salt, but the Metacritic score is a 75. Now, this is one that, again, I think based on the fact that it is a Ubisoft game. Now, Far Cry is one of their premier franchises, so maybe it'll hold up in price a little bit longer, but hey, if they were willing to put Assassin's Creed on sale very quickly, I don't have a lot of reservations on them not putting Far Cry 6 on sale fairly quickly. That's how I've been with Ubisoft games, and that's what I usually tell you guys, that if you're excited for a Ubisoft game, sure, pick it up day one for $60, but just be mindful of the fact that no matter how big of a franchise it is, it could go on sale fairly quickly. It seems like Far Cry 6 to many people that I've talked to, they are seeing it as more of the same. It's a game that's packed with content, so from a value standpoint, I mean, if you are dropping $60, you're still probably going to get quite a bit of hours of gameplay, but chances are, if you wait a month, if you wait 2 months, getting it for $35 is probably going to be a lot nicer to your wallet. Next up, we have the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes, 73 on Metacritic, as well as a 7.6 user score, so very comparable as far as that's concerned. This is, of course, published by Bandai Namco, done by Supermassive Games, who also did Until Dawn. If you're familiar with that game, you know that it's a story-driven game, light on the gameplay, but that's what you're getting with House of Ashes as well. A lot of decision-making, a lot of variety in how the story can pan out, but if you're into games like that, you know, it's not going to be the lengthiest game in the world, but these are games that inherently have quite a bit of replayability if you wanted to, and yeah, 73 is probably serviceable for that. It seems like this is gaining some steam in terms of popularity, and we do have another game that's ending this arc, I believe, dropping next year, so be on the lookout for that as well. Next up, we have Hell Let Loose, which dropped on the PlayStation 5 last month. It was also a PlayStation Plus title, so you didn't have to drop money on it if you were a Plus subscriber. It is a World War II multiplayer first-person shooter with some tactics elements to it as well. You know, as a Plus title, I think it was serviceable. If it was a game released at $40 on the PlayStation 5, I don't think it would have resonated at a high level. 73 on Metacritic, 7.0 as far as the user score. I played this on PC, and I enjoyed it for what it was, but not a game that I think is going to sustain my interest for the long term. Next up, we have Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles. This is 72 on Metacritic, 7.3 user score. I know Demon Slayer is wildly popular right now. I watched like a couple episodes and it didn't grip me. I can concede the fact that it has some incredible animation, but again, I wasn't hooked by it. And anime these days in general just really aren't hooking me, but 72 on Metacritic is fairly good. Anime-based games are always a little bit of a wild west when it comes to review scores. I mean, you'll see some of those One Piece games getting like 3 out of 10s, and then you'll see some games like Naruto Storm be received pretty well, but in the case of Demon Slayer, looks like if you're a fan of the franchise, you are going to enjoy it. From what I've heard, it is a condensed version of the story, so if you're looking to get the Demon Slayer story out of the game itself and not watch the anime, that's probably not the best idea based on what I've heard, but it also seems like the reception has been relatively strong, and this is definitely a game that's going to target the fans of the series. Next up, we have Jett The Far Shore, which was super disappointing to see that it only got a 68 on Metacritic, 6.8 user score as well. This is done by Super Brothers, and their last game was fantastic. You know, this is a game that I still have to play. I was super bummed out that it only got a 68, but hopefully it's a game that, you know, over the years, maybe it'll be a title that when it goes on sale, people will pick it up and enjoy it a little bit more versus dropping full price on it, but yeah, 68 on that. And then lastly, Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl. This was also a little bit of a bummer, 66 on Metascore and 5.9 user score. Another one where I knew a lot of people that had high expectations for this game just because, you know, there's a lot of iconic characters here. You got SpongeBob, you got Patrick Star, you got Danny Phantom, I believe. These are some characters that people really grew up with. But yeah, Smash Brothers clone, this is not at the highest level, so that's a little bit of a bummer. There's a lot of games like this coming out. I mean, there's rumblings that Warner Brothers is getting ready to put out their own, but you know, if you just want fun as a fighting game, it's probably something you are gonna have some fun out of, but I wouldn't expect this to be the competitive fighting game that maybe you'll sink hours upon hours into and get super competitive in, but take it for what it is. It's not the worst in the world, and it is released at a budget price point, so that's always nice. But yeah, 66 on Metacritic. And that's gonna do it for me. Again, running through the highest rated games. A lot of these I think people are going to be best off waiting for a sale on. Nice to see Riders Republic being received really well. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Again, with games like Guardians of the Galaxy, Riders Republic, even Far Cry 6 to an extent, I think there's a lot of people that have interest in those games but are just waiting for it to be discounted. So yeah, take it for what you will. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts. Let me know what games you played in October, if any, which you enjoyed the most. Again, October for me was kind of a lighter month. It's a lot busier this month. I had a week off where I wasn't even talking about video games on the channel, so yeah, I was playing catch up a little bit, and hopefully in November something hooks me a little bit more. But Guardians of the Galaxy, in my opinion, a pleasant surprise, but again, one that I think a lot of people are going to pick up once it's south of $40. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.